Are you as mystified as I used to be about perimenopause? It was never taught in school. I'm 41. I've done research on it over the past year, and I have actually realized that I am in perimenopause. I wanted to go over perimenopause, just simplifying it for people that really haven't had the time to look into it. And I'm actually going to be dyeing my roots while we talk about this. So if you're interested in learning about perimenopause, stay tuned. So my hair is crazy, but you can see I have some gray right there. So we're just going to do a little root touch up. So I'm using the Ion Permanent Light Intense Brown 5NN to cover my grays. So from some of the research I've done, perimenopause, you can think of it as almost puberty in reverse. All the hormone like chaos that was going on then is kind of what you can think of as perimenopause, but almost in reverse, where we're not going into our fertile years, we're coming out of our fertile years. So instead of your hormones slowly declining very like steadily and evenly, they just go haywire. So instead of going like this, they're going like this all the way down, right? Yeah, so that's why most of us feel like we're going crazy. We have every symptom in the book. We have very weird symptoms. I felt like there was an answer to like what was going on with me. Some of the ones that I was having were really weird, were like itching ears, like inside of my ears. I mean, I went to the doctor, and the itching, by the time I went to the doctor, it had gotten so bad that it was like really red in my ears, flaking, itching. I would also have like weird random like joint pain sometimes. I was having, mood effects, irritability. It would turn into like anger, rage for absolutely no reason. Um, my cycle was changing. So perimenopause is the time period like leading up to menopause. It usually starts in your late 30s and 40s and can last anywhere from 2 to 10 years. So it can be up to 10 years, almost a decade. And kind of like I said before, again, I'm not an expert. I've just done my own research. I'm a nurse, but I'm not like an OBGYN. I'm not a nurse practitioner. I'm not a doctor. But this is kind of just my own research for my own sanity, I guess you could say. So during this time, you're still producing estrogen and progesterone, but they don't like, it doesn't come in its predictable pattern that it did before. The other thing to note is that during perimenopause you're still having periods. And then just to define menopause itself is that you've gone 12 consecutive months without a period. My mom said she was around 54 when she reached menopause. So the big question, right, is why does it cause so many symptoms? Estrogen affects much more than your reproductive system. It also plays a role in brain function and memory, mood and anxiety, sleep, body temperature, muscle and bone health, skin and hair, heart health, how your body stores fat. So when estrogen becomes unpredictable, you can feel like your whole entire body is changing. Like I said, the main things for me were definitely mood. Like I could tell that because I was a big like cycle tracker, like period tracker. I had like an app, or I still have it. I have an app. I would I would track my cycle because I wanted to know when it would come, right? And I noticed like in my later 30s, I could tell that it's like I wanted to track it because I wanted to know when like I wasn't going to feel myself like in that luteal phase, just to have a heads up of, okay, I may not feel great this week. I may feel emotional, give myself a heads up, maybe give my husband a heads up. So yeah, so that was one of the main reasons I wanted to start tracking my period. And then of course, when we started trying to have a baby, and I actually gave birth to my baby at age 38, I had postpartum stuff going on. I definitely had really intense postpartum anxiety turning into like postpartum depression that went on, I mean, until he was 2 years old. That was tough. And then add in just the stress of life, going back to work, having a new baby at home. Also, I'm a stepmom as well, and he's a wonderful kid. He's a teenager, so there's hormones there. And of course, all the while, my baby is turning into a toddler. So my poor husband has a teenager, a toddler, and a perimenopausal woman that he's living with. So he has the patience of a saint. Um, so if you're experiencing these things, just know like you're not alone, but just know that yes, it very well could be perimenopause. And there are ways to manage certain symptoms. Me personally, I am currently on hormonal birth control. I figured like a just steady stream of estrogen and progesterone um, may help instead of like them going wacky every month. Um, so I'm doing that right now. I know that a lot of people don't agree with that. A lot of people have problems with birth control. I personally don't. I do trust my doctor. I don't trust anybody blindly. I try to keep up on the evidence-based information, and I personally feel comfortable being on it right now. And it does seem to even some things out. So that's what I'm doing right now for that. I'm also on the GLP-1 tirzepatide to get to a healthier weight. And that has helped. For the longest time, couldn't lose weight. I would get on the horse week, 2 weeks, didn't see enough progress, and would quit. And it was just the cycle over and over and over. I would start a new weight loss journey. I've started new weight loss journeys countless times, and nothing stuck. Not to blame perimenopause for everything, but I just really believe that just all the fluctuations in my body of the hormones and then any external stress that was going on with me, I just personally could not handle. My body couldn't handle, my mind couldn't handle the weight loss journey, I guess, without the assistance of this medication. Definitely check out my GLP-1 videos, and I will certainly be making more as I'm on this journey, about halfway to my goal. This video is really just to be informative and just to kind of give you a place to relate and realize you're not alone if you are having any of these symptoms and you're just not sure why you're having these symptoms, or is this normal? Is it something else? What's going on with me? Just to be aware of it. I will mention a podcast I was listening to pretty frequently too, that I got a lot of information from. It's called Ovary Active, and I will put the icon here so that you can look it up. But it's two female gynecologists that are very educated in the perimenopause years in a woman's life, and they treat patients with multiple symptoms. And it's just very informative, very interesting, and they're very focused on science, evidence-based research, and that's what I like to hear too. The encouraging part is, perimenopause is not a disease. It's a normal life stage, just like birth, puberty, your fertile years, and then perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. It is temporary, but you want to understand what's happening so that you can make adjustments to try to help your hormones. Now, the version of myself prior to me getting all this figured out with my doctors, I didn't really like who I saw in the mirror, and I also didn't feel good inside. I didn't understand why I would have certain reactions to things that shouldn't really upset me as much as they were, and I know I'm not the only one who has experienced this, so it is quite vulnerable to share these things, especially the medications that you're on, and um, things of that nature. But awareness of this kind of stuff is important, and I was suffering in silence for quite some time. Things have gotten so much better now that I've opened up to my doctors and they've given me some information. I've done my own research. But you have to be your own advocate too. You need to have healthy habits. You need to start with your sleep, getting good sleep. Women require more sleep than men. Adjusting your nutrition, exercise, sleep habits, and talking to your doctor. If you feel like you're suffering in silence, that's not okay, and it's not going to help you in the long run. Know that I've been there. I feel for you. It's really cool because these days I feel like there's more awareness on social media. There are like telehealth companies that are working with insurances now to help with women in this phase of life. They're even prescribing hormone replacement therapy. Again, people may be against that and only want to go the natural route, and that's fine. To each their own. I think we should all experiment with what could work for us. But right now, this is what I'm doing, and it's really helping. I've had like a complete 180 as far as like my mental health, physical health, everything. So I hope this video was informative to a degree. I hope that you feel less alone if you are experiencing these symptoms. Yeah, and just to recap, perimenopause is, you can think of it as reverse puberty, and we know how hectic that could have been. Maybe not for everybody, but for some people it was. Skin changes, weight changes, feeling awkward in your body, not understanding what's going on with you. Think about that now in our upper 30s, 40s. We're kind of going through it again in reverse, unfortunately. Again, we're in this together. There are things that you can do, adjustments you can make naturally, nutrition, sleep, exercise, things like that. Talking to your doctor if you feel like that's necessary. Going to therapy would be a great thing too if you're feeling like you're really struggling mentally. And I know that all these things aren't always accessible to everybody, which is very unfortunate. Not everybody has insurance. And even if they do, they don't cover certain things. We do live in a day and age where technology is very helpful as well. So I hope that this was a little bit informative. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comments. I have a few shorts about perimenopause that are just kind of fun little outlets for me to kind of bring some awareness to it and help people feel less alone who are dealing with this. Absolutely not. So definitely take a look at those if you haven't seen those. Thank you for being with me while I dye my roots. I'll show you the finished result at the end of this video. And thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, this is the next day. I just wanted to show you the end result of the root touch-up. Turned out pretty good.